where do you think the blame lies here for the situation, or at least who is the person that's responsible to try to help this city?
I'm going to tell you where I start when I consult with companies. They call me and they have a problem. They have a security problem. They're losing a lot of money. They're having vandalism, or people are being injured, whatever it happens to be. The first thing I do is I go in and I find out, well, who's in charge of it? And if it turns out that it's the night janitor, who's the guy who looks after the security and the alarm and the keys, I realize the real problem is the boss isn't in charge. You know, when I look at this situation here, I'll tell you the one who pours the most water on this one. Most people don't quite realize it, but it is the Premier. It's Premier McGuinty. When he came here for his short visit for the summit of the gang there, and he brought his Attorney General and his Solicitor General, and they sat down and they came out and essentially said and did nothing after their meeting. They pledged $5 million that they pledged before. The problem is, Joe, they control all of the acts. The Solicitor General controls the police. He controls the Police Act. He controls all the Security Guard and Private Investigators Act. The Attorney General covers the courts and laws.
They don't know what to do they?
I don't think they have a clue what to do. Otherwise, to me, it's pretty apparent what they need to be able to do, Joe.
Well, Ross McLean, security analyst and expert, and if you want to read your stuff, rossmclean.com?
rossmcleansecurity.com for the website.
Okay, tell us what they should do.
Well, if you go to the website, you can find the links to my Facebook pages. I have 2 pages on there, one that deals with the crime stats and some of the problems we've talked about here and some of the spin that's come out. I kind of try and undo the spin on a page I call Crime, Power, and Politics. Then another thing close to my heart is I deal with violence against women and domestic abuse issues. I like to train on that and hope we can reduce some of that.
We'll talk a little bit about that when we come back to this in the second part of the show. But, you know, I look at this summer and I think now that they've you know how they've deployed this 329 more officers. And I haven't been following because I've been away this last few days, but is it working a little bit?
Joe, we don't have a money problem for this. We're throwing almost $1 billion at it on our police budget. We don't have a police officer, not enough police officer problem on this. We have a deployment problem for what we're doing with our resources and with that $1 billion to protect the people of this city.
Okay, well, we'll pick that up, next part of the show because it's time for the news. I see Dave Bradley over there. He's looking pretty sharp tonight. You're listening to The Late Shift on In-Depth Radio, News Talk 1010. Myself, Joe Warmington, with you on The Late Shift, the Scrawler. My guest in studio is Ross McLean, and if you're listening in the previous hour, we were talking about a lot of things concerning the community, the summer of the gang, that kind of thing. And Ross, I guess the first question I want to ask you is that could the police fix these neighborhoods, or is it really unfair to ask them to do that?
The whole answer isn't completely a police response to it. You know, police are good at some things. Private security are good at some other things. The police aren't the whole answer to it, but they're a good part of it. And there's some parts that need to be fixed with how the police are doing it now. That's for sure. 416-872-1010, 1-877-518-5151, Star Talk 8255 on your cell. We're going to bring in Staff Sergeant Monahan in a minute, but one of the things that I think that we all understand and we've learned throughout the years is that you don't gain success by how many bad guys you arrest, particularly when the courts send them right back out again and put them on under house arrest or very short sentences for very violent offenses, including breaching their bail. So obviously, I think people are in agreement that something has to be done with these neighborhoods for the people in them and for the people that are innocent, whether they're at a party or whether they're at the Eaton Center and have no connection to the neighborhood at all. And I think that they finally got it, although I don't think anything's really happening to deal with it. Well, you're right. They have to make some changes. One of the things that I look to see here, you'll know it's being a success when you have the absence of crime from these community housing projects. It's the absence of crime, not the fact that you lay 10,000 charges across the city in these housing projects. It's more about the absence of crime. And the way that you do that is you have to make these neighborhoods successful. So the police and part of their projects, when they go in, can't be going in there just looking for bad guys.
I mean, that's part of it. But what they need to be doing is making the neighborhood successful, protecting, offering support to the good people in those neighborhoods.
But they're not social workers. And you were a police officer. How can they do that?
It's tough. That's why part of the answer here is you really need a better, stronger private security answer, because police are pretty good at responding, but they're not so good at preventing.